Hello there, Romans here and welcome to my next music review. Today it's going to be Five Finger Death Punch and Justice for None.
Music review. Music review.
Five Finger Death Punch is an American modern rock / alternative metal group that I've known for quite some time. I've heard many of their songs on YouTube, but I've never actually listened to any of their records. So as with many groups that I made reviews for, I decided to kind of start with the new album, which is called And Justice for None, and not none like none, religious none, but well, that would be interesting. And Justice for None. So I think that the title of the album is kind of a play on words, because the fourth album from Metallica is called And Justice for All. So without too much of a knowledge of their previous stuff, I decided to review the new album, which I've heard 5 times as of now. It came out yesterday, and let's look at the new album. First of all, I've been listening to the deluxe version that's slightly longer, as it has 16 tracks. There are also 2 songs that appeared previously on a Greatest Hits compilation, if I'm not mistaken. So the first thing I must state is that there is just so much similarity with Stone Sour. I mean, even the style, the singer, just the first track called Trouble, the vocal style of the singer, the melodic chorus, the heavy verses, it's pretty much Stone Sour, really. It sounds so much like Stone Sour, it's almost unbelievable. And it's the vocals that really give the impression that at certain moments Five Finger Death Punch sound like a group trying to do a Stone Sour impression. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing, I'm not criticizing them, this is simply stating the obvious. I'm a huge fan of Stone Sour, and even though their last record, Hydrograd, was really a bad one, I really like their first 3 records, and even House of Golden Bones were pretty cool. But Corey Taylor is, in my opinion, one of the most unique metal singers, and he usually does a lot of screaming and melodic singing and those deep voice, almost like a spoken word kind of singing. And the singer Ivan Moody from Five Finger Death Punch pretty much does the same. Probably the only difference between the 2 singers is that Moody uses more of a death growl when he does extreme singing, and Corey Taylor does more of a screaming that's maybe not that technical. But really the similarities are just very strong, and I think it's even more hearable in the second track called Fake, which could have been easily on the album Come Whatever May. Now, I'm not sure if this is how Five Finger Death Punch sounded always, but Stone Sour were here sooner, so you can write down in the comment section if their previous records are the same or if the new record is kind of like a step into a new direction. The third track, called Top of the World, is a song that's pretty interesting because it sounds like a combination of Death Stars, that's a group that is essentially an English version of Rammstein. Just listen to the song Death Dies Hard, which is slightly more disco-ish in a way, but it's that style that Rammstein made famous, and also that kind of a deep voice, plus Stone Sour plus ABBA. Now, I really like this song because I think it sounds really interesting, and I think the chorus is really interesting. Maybe not something you would expect from this song. The fourth track is also a song that they shot a video for called Champagne. Now, I think that Champagne, it kind of reminds me of one black contestant who was in American Idol, and he was calling himself, I think, Champagne. Well, just, you know, a fan fact. This is a track that is slightly more leaning into the mainstream rock territory. Now, this is something I've been talking about quite many times, and I'm not a big fan of mainstream rock, but I think that Five Finger Death Punch are not that much in that territory, as most of the tracks on the record, maybe with the exception of like 2 tracks, have guitar solos, and I really enjoy those extreme and heavy parts. Blue on Black is a cover that has a very southern rock / country vibe. It kind of reminds me of Black Stone Cherry. It's not a song I would necessarily care for on the record. There's also one more cover called Gone Away from The Offspring, and even though this is not really a song that I was that familiar with, at times this song sounded more like a cover of Mad World from Tears for Fears. Just listen to it, maybe that's where the Offspring got the inspiration from. Also, the track on the album followed that same heavy formula, like you've got very heavy verses, sometimes you've got that low spoken word kind of bridge, and then a melodic chorus like Fire in the Hole and Rock Bottom that at times reminded me of the song Psychosocial from Slipknot. Then It Doesn't Matter, Bad Seed, Save Your Breath. Save Your Breath is a song that I would probably put in the same category as Top of the World. There is also a ballad on the album called I Refuse that is based on the piano. Now this is a song that's relatively cliche. It sounds like a sad song that a band like Five Finger Death Punch would do, but I actually like the sentiment, and despite certain predictability, it's a song that really worked for me as a listener. When the Seasons Change is another track that is kind of different from the others, as it's more acoustic guitars driven and it's more in a style of pop rock. In Slovak, And Justice for None means spravodlivosť pre nikoho. And Five Finger Death Punch means päťprstový smrteľný úder. Now that's some badass name. Generally, I think that this was a pretty enjoyable record. I must confess that when I've heard Champagne as a single for the first time, I was kind of afraid that I might not like this record, and I try to build my channel on recommending music rather than on criticizing it. But this record was a very highly enjoyable one, and therefore I decided to give it actually 8 points out of 10. Now this was a really great introduction for me with the group. I'm planning to revisit their older records, so if you are a fan already, you can let me know which records you think are the best from Five Finger Death Punch. Maybe if you have heard the new record already, you can let me know how well does the new album compare to the previous ones. And if you enjoyed this review, don't forget to like, to subscribe. Also, don't forget to check out my first single out of my debut album that came out 3 weeks ago, and it's progressive rock without guitars. Instead there is drums, there is bass, drums, saxophone and keyboards, so it's something pretty unique. So who knows, maybe you'll find it interesting. And if you're still watching, then thanks a lot for watching.